Hi there, and thank you for clicking on my video. We're going to be talking about the Incarnon Vandal, and the couple of builds that it has access to. This weapon is completely insane. Let's go over the stats, because this, I think, has a bug with it. But anyway, obviously, Evolution 1 is just getting Evolution unlocked. I went with Evolution for Evolution 2, Munitions Grit. Even though this does consume ammo incredibly fast, um, it ends up in the main fire form not being too big of a deal. Multi-shot consumes ammo directly from capacity and increases damage by plus 58%. It's an additional multiplier. I'm down for it. On punch through, 20% chance for 10% ammo restored. This is ammo in reserve. It's what you are carrying with you, not the magazine, is where this comes from. So the multi-shot consuming ammo from like your capacity is offset completely, and then some, by the Evo 3 Gunsmoke pickup. And probably the biggest hot take with this, because I see people going other things. With 50% crit chance below 50, or with crit chance below 50%, increase crit damage by 3x. The plus 3 does count as base, and we're going to talk about the crit chance a little bit later. Okay, so the base of it is 5x. Just to prove that the multiplier is base, critical sense, 120% of 5 is 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. There you go. Hammer shot, 60% of 5 is 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. Easy enough. Alright, there is not going to be a new bro build for this because you can't have access to it until you get the steel path. So we're just going to go straight into multipliers. Galvanized aptitude. And for a specific reason, I'm actually going to recommend a slash build. We are going to do critical delay. And I did the Vandal for this specific reason. 16% base crit chance with critical delay brings you to 48, which is clearly below 50. Vital sense. We actually are going to go 100 munitions to boost the already solid dispo for slash weighting, and we are going to go a straight up slash build, and there is kind of a reason for that. So the Exilus is kind of up to you. Stabilizer honestly is not bad because the weapon is going to be sustainable on its own with ammo. Because of the leech from the multi-shot, and punch through, which we are going to need, which is going to give us shred. You can also do base shred. As long as you have punch through on, you should be good. But prime shred makes it completely sustainable. You don't need to put, what is it, metal auger. That is overkill. So for stabilizer, it's just going to make it easier to handle, easier to get headshots. Because even with this sorry-ass build, we're going to hit like 100k slash ticks. Right? So pretty basic. We got a basic slash build. The only thing that's really a hot take is hammer shot here. Galvanized aptitude, pretty standard mod. Galvanized chamber, pretty standard mod. Vital sense for crit chance. Critical delay for crit chance for critical delay. Crit damage for vital sense faction because we're dealing a dot. 100 munitions for even more. And prime shred is just a phenomenal mod. So pretty basic setup. Now the only thing that you could potentially swap out, and I'm probably going to consider it myself, spread the spores, we'll get damage a little faster. The first one's the hardest. You can see in the bottom right the ammo amount jumping around because of the multi-shot. And as we build up slash dots, they're hitting for like 22k, 14, 10, 19k, 23k. We're still building stacks. 14, 35k, 18k, 9k, 22k, 18k. Yeah, this is fine. 49k. Let's get a headshot. 57. Yeah, that's a-okay. Let's try to get a single one. 61k. On a bullet hose. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Okay. So, a little bit of math. If you were to do this same build, but with the different Incarnon, the final Evo, you would look at it and go, okay, 164% crit, with like a 7.3 crit multiplier. Why am I going with this? It's because this weapon is kind of not balanced right now. So the issue is that when you swap over from this, which is a pretty solid slash build, right? Especially with getting those sorts of multipliers. If you swap over to a raw damage build, this actually does insane amounts of damage. So we're going to put about basically the same build on, but we are going to go viral. Vital sense. And faction. And deadhead. And then stabilizer actually plays some dividends here. Because we're going to be getting headshots with this. If you swap over to a viral damage build, so this is going to be for the level cappers, right? The issue is that I don't know if it's a bug or not, but because of the bonus, when crit chance below 50%, increase crit damage by plus 3x. As of right now, galvanized scope is not taken into account, which means you can have your cake and eat it too, and get reds on a 13.6x crit multiplier. Even though, because when I looked at this, I thought like, okay, maybe I needed to keep it unmodded for the 114. It counts, it cares about this number. So even though it's 114, and we'll look at the damage right now. So it's viral. Right? So 51 on a crit. 51 on a crit. I didn't lose the crit multiplier. And we'll wait for it to stack up. Alright, we got a crit. And now we're getting oranges. So 154. 154. Our critical multiplier didn't go down. And if we keep the arcane stacked up. So it's jumping around because of the multi-shot. So let's do our AoE armor strip. Oh, looks like I adjusted the strength. Alright, so we're going to stack all the way up. Right, so you're seeing 464, 383, a little bit of multi-shot is showing. Now we got that all stacked up. Let's strip. So, with a single galvanized stack on a stripped enemy, we're hitting 1.3 million with a proper level cap setup with no ribbon, because it isn't taking into account the extra crit or the extra crit chance. And it's a bullet like, it's more of a bullet hose than I care for it to be. So 1.9. Yeah, not bad. So, I would recommend, if you did have the space for it, if you don't have Prime Grenier, then Shred goes there. You could get this damage pretty insane, because if you noticed, I was not priming. I had viral. There was viral on the weapon. The Panzer was priming the enemies for us, so it's the 3 plus 325% bonus damage. But if you're doing a level cap setup, you're going to be priming anyway. Like a couple of shots of this, you were only seeing a single damage number, right? So we weren't even really seeing like all of the multi-shot. So even if I were to take this off, the damage should be about the same. Yeah, it's the same damage even when taking the multi-shot off. So if the enemy's tanky enough, your damage should go up by 4 times. Alright, I need to quit hitting the shoulders. Hold on. Okay. But 1.38 mil on a red will definitely kill something. And the average critical multiplier, even though the crit chance is higher, even though the crit chance is higher on the other one, the average crit multiplier of the plus 3x, and because it applies to the base, it ends up being like a 15x average critical multiplier, where the other one, because it loses so much base crit, ends up being like a 12 and change. So the average crit multiplier, even though the crit damage is or even though the crit damage is lower on the one with the higher crit chance, and you don't have the gap of it being, 50% crit chance, it ends up not mattering. So with this, even with multi-shot off, still hitting a couple hundred Ks, 1.3 mil. Um, and this would be a level cap setup where you would just walk up and like two shot the Demolist, and it's a deadhead setup. Like this is a standard level cap setup. You could even swap out for like a like a 90 mod here and get even more damage because you're not really worried about like statuses applying, right? This is more if you're doing like a proper level cap setup, you're priming with something else. This weapon can easily level cap now, and I think the scope thing is bugged because it's not taking it into account at all. So 13.6 critical multiplier, and you're hitting high oranges, reds. That's a good time. But anyway, take it easy, guys. To be honest, if you're looking for regular mission running, I don't see anything wrong with running the regular one. Maybe take faction off, put Serration there, because it's a dot build. So it's up to you if you want to get it into like self priming, like that's what this Riven's for, viral heat. So it's up to you what you want to do, but I'm probably gonna stick with the slash build and maybe run something like this because the multiplier on it isn't super good, but the Incarnon form it is absolutely busted. It's so insane, especially with that. I think it's a glitch. I think this, and it applies in the mission. I genuinely think they had a lot to do. It's an open world, and I think obviously they missed this. But for now, 1.3 mil with one galvanized aptitude stack. We have things like Arcane Encumber, right? Like secondary Encumber. Or Arcane Cucumber, right? You prime something with 16 statuses, Jesus Christ, you're hitting millions and millions easily. So, and God forbid you do like a frame buff, right? Like I didn't even have like a damage bonus. Like, look, this is the build, right? Like, it's all the weapon plus the 10 stacks of viral boosting that damage. So if you were to add like a headshot, like on headshot you get base damage or like maybe fire rate or something like that, you could patch this into something insane, especially with like an acceleration. You could even tone down and go for the merciless. This would do some damage. So it is what it is, but just to let you guys know, it does look like scope is currently busted. So anyway, enjoy, guys. Seriously, these things are fun. Take it easy.